Good evening. Tonight, we begin with a story that strikes at the very heart of America. A story that touches every corner of our land, from the smallest rural towns to the largest cities. For generations, the American farmer has fed our nation and much of the globe, building a legacy of hard work, resilience, and innovation that shaped our country's identity. But now, that foundation is cracking under an unprecedented crisis, threatening not just livelihoods, but a way of life passed down through families for centuries. U.S. farm exports, once the engine of our agricultural economy and a symbol of American strength, have experienced a shocking collapse. 94% of our export value, gone, almost overnight, leaving silos full and markets empty. This isn't just lost income, it's a fundamental shift in the global order, with ripple effects that reach far beyond the farm gate. From Iowa's cornfields to Illinois' soybean farms, the consequences are immediate and severe. Fields left unplanted, equipment sitting idle, and uncertainty growing with each passing day. The very identity of rural America is at stake, as small towns struggle to survive and communities face an uncertain future. We'll show you the fields with crops that have nowhere to go, and hear from farmers watching their livelihoods disappear, their hopes fading with each unsold harvest. This is more than economic hardship. It's a human struggle, a test of spirit and endurance for families who have given everything to the land. The collapse affects every American, from rising grocery prices to the stability of our national economy, reminding us how deeply we are all connected. Our reputation as a dependable global partner is on the line, as the world watches and questions America's role in feeding the planet. How did this happen? Is there a way back from the brink, or is this the new reality for American agriculture? Tonight, we investigate the causes, trade disputes, tariffs, and geopolitical maneuvering that left American agriculture caught in the crossfire, with decisions made far from the fields now shaping the fate of millions. The markets we once dominated are now in the hands of our competitors, as other nations step in to fill the void left by America's retreat. The story of this 94% plunge is a wake-up call for the entire nation, a moment to reflect, to ask hard questions, and to consider what comes next for the heartland of America. To grasp today's crisis, we must look back. America's prosperity was built on its agricultural abundance. For centuries, we were the world's breadbasket, thanks to innovation and relentless work. American farmers fed not just our nation, but the world, shaping rural communities and economies. Exporting wasn't just part of the business, it was the business. International markets drove prosperity, but also brought vulnerability. The post-World War II era cemented America's role as the indispensable agricultural superpower. Trade agreements, new markets, and massive infrastructure made us the top food exporter, a point of national pride and diplomatic strength. That's what makes the current reversal so devastating. The system was built on expanding trade and reliable partnerships. Now, that foundation is gone. The idea that these markets could vanish in just a few years was once unthinkable. What caused this collapse? It wasn't one event, but a perfect storm of policy decisions and global shifts. The main catalyst, a prolonged trade war with China, once our largest buyer. U.S. tariffs led to Chinese retaliation, targeting American agriculture. The flow of crops to China slowed to a trickle, then stopped. Instability pushed other nations to seek new suppliers. Brazil and Argentina ramped up production, signing long-term contracts and pushing America out of the global supply chain. Orders were canceled overnight, ships turned around mid-voyage. Farmers found themselves with no buyers, grain piling up, and prices plummeting. The infrastructure built for high-volume exports was unprepared for this shock. The entire ecosystem, from seed suppliers to truck drivers, felt the impact. The storm that brewed on the international stage has devastated the American heartland. Here, the 94% collapse is not just a statistic, it's a daily reality that shapes every decision, every sunrise, and every sleepless night for America's farmers. Grain bins remain full, with nowhere for the next harvest to go. The abundance, once a sign of prosperity, now feels like a curse as storage runs out. Farmers pile crops in sheds and outdoors, desperately hoping to protect them from rot and ruin. But the elements are relentless, and time is running out. With prices below production costs, every bushel sold means more debt. The harder they work, the deeper the hole becomes, leaving many feeling trapped. Farm debt has soared, bankruptcies are sweeping rural America, and families are losing land held for generations. The heartbreak is visible in every empty farmhouse and every auction sign. The human cost is immense: stress, anxiety, and a mental health crisis that too often goes unseen. Communities are struggling to support one another. Many farmers, proud and self-reliant, suffer in silence. The stigma around asking for help only deepens their isolation. John Miller, a third-generation Iowa farmer, told us, "We did everything we were asked. We followed the rules, worked the land, and provided for the country. We were told to be patriots, to feed America and the world, and we answered that call with pride. But the tunnel just got longer and darker." For many, hope is fading as the future grows more uncertain. He fears he can't pass the farm to his son, breaking a chain that has lasted for generations. We're not asking for a handout. We just want a fair chance to survive, to keep doing what we love. We just want a market, a place for our crops, a future for our families, and a reason to keep going. His story is echoed by thousands across the nation. From the Midwest to the South, farmers everywhere are facing the same struggle. The weight of losing a multi-generational legacy is a burden many find too heavy to bear. For these families, it's not just a business. It's their identity, their history, and their hope for the future. The crisis on the farm quickly spreads to Main Street. When farmers lose money, they stop spending. Dealerships, supply stores, and local businesses all suffer. The economic collapse accelerates rural depopulation. Young people leave for cities, schools and hospitals close, and communities hollow out. The loss is more than economic. It's the unraveling of community fabric. Traditions and institutions that bind small towns together begin to fade. As farm incomes and property values plummet, local tax bases erode. Governments make painful cuts. Roads, law enforcement, and public services all suffer. The downward spiral is hard to reverse. What's lost isn't just businesses, but a way of life. The crisis threatens to erase many small towns from the map. The shockwaves from this collapse reach far beyond rural America. Agriculture, once a bright spot in our trade balance, now deepens the national deficit. The loss of export revenue is a direct hit to our economy. Industries connected to agriculture, transportation, manufacturing, ports, are all suffering. Layoffs ripple through railroads, trucking, and equipment factories. America's reputation as a reliable trading partner is damaged. Our abrupt policy shifts have shattered global trust. Competitors like Brazil and Russia have stepped in, expanding their influence. The crisis is not just economic, it's a story of diminishing American power on the world stage. The consequences will be felt for years to come. The collapse of U.S. farm exports has triggered a global realignment. Brazil and the Black Sea region have seized the opportunity, building infrastructure and signing long-term deals. New trade relationships are now deeply entrenched. Even if disputes ended tomorrow, America wouldn't simply reclaim its old markets. We're now outsiders, forced to fight our way back in. Dr. Arlen Suderman says, "Markets are like trust. They take decades to build and days to destroy." Buyers have moved on, and regaining their trust will require years of effort and lower prices. The world's food supply is now more dependent on a handful of regions, some less stable than the U.S. The loss of America's stabilizing influence has made the global food market more volatile. The consequences of this new landscape are still unfolding. The challenge for American farmers has never been greater. Amid the statistics, the most powerful voices are those living this crisis. Mary Etta, a fourth-generation Kansas wheat farmer, says, "This feels intentional, like a door has been slammed shut and we don't have the key." Economists agree. There's no quick fix. Regaining market share will be long and uncertain. America is now the high-cost, high-risk supplier. The old model of exporting bulk commodities may be over. The crisis has shattered the belief in American agriculture's invincibility. Younger generations are leaving, and the brain drain threatens the future of farming. The next few years are critical. Policymakers must repair relationships and negotiate new trade agreements. Farmers must innovate and adapt to a more competitive world. The scars from this collapse will remain. The question is no longer just about survival, but about what American agriculture will become. Tonight, we've witnessed the devastating impact of the collapse in U.S. farm exports, a crisis that has sent shockwaves through rural communities and the entire nation. This is a crisis born from policy decisions, not from any failure of American farmers or their ability to produce. American farmers remain the most efficient and innovative in the world. But now, the markets they once relied on have vanished, leaving uncertainty in their wake. The foundation of our agricultural prosperity is more fragile than we ever imagined, revealing vulnerabilities that were hidden beneath years of abundance. This is a crossroads, not just a crisis, a pivotal moment that demands reflection and bold action. We must come together for a national conversation about the role of agriculture in our economy, our communities, and our foreign policy. The future of American agriculture truly hangs in the balance, affecting not just farmers, but every American who depends on a stable food supply. We must rebuild trust, reopen old markets, forge new partnerships, and support our farmers as they adapt to a changing world. This is not a partisan issue. It's an American issue, one that unites us all regardless of background or belief. The strength of our nation is deeply tied to the health and resilience of our heartland, where our food, values, and traditions are rooted. The choices we make now will determine whether this crisis leaves a permanent scar or becomes a catalyst for renewal and hope. The future is not yet written, and together, we have the power to shape it for generations to come. From all of us at NBC News, thank you for joining us, and good night.